All right, so why don't we jump right to number 3 and get started on the meat of the agenda, and then we'll go back, and if Tom shows up, we can do our introductions then and select the chair. So, Michael, do you want to kind of kick it off, and then we'll just have a discussion of what some of our challenges and goals are?
Yeah, I did. Sorry about the last minute trying to pull things together.
That's all right.
But I did send around, there's a bunch of information on this from the state as far as the requirements, affordable housing, habitat. There's a bunch of guides that we're going to have to make ourselves familiar with as we go forward. As I told Patrick, this was one of those that I had not experienced before. So I'm going to be learning right along with you guys as we put this together. We need to figure out how we're going to use this organization, how we're going to get it up and running. How this trust is going to be able to help the community, and what are some of our goals. So a lot of this Michael, is just an open discussion right now.
Yep. Did you share the draft that Donna had produced for Littleton?
Yep.
Okay, good. I haven't opened the actual attachments because I saw them in your office. So, look, I think that what really we kind of need to concern ourselves with is to get to the point where from now to where this independent this independent trust fund is up and running, is incorporated, is ready to go. So I think that to Michael's point, there's a number of kind of decisions that we need to make, and I think that we're going to need to. Why we went with Littleton is because our town council is also the Littleton town council, and she's the one who wrote the trust documents for Littleton. So we've got kind of a sense of, we not only have a copy of their trust, but we also have some of the documents that they make available to folks who are interested in taking advantage of their trust. So what I think we might want to do is to take a look at Michael's attachments over the next couple of weeks, and then set up a second meeting where we can start to say, okay, what are our takeaways, and what are some of the decisions we need to make? So, I think that's kind of how we proceed, but I'm happy to listen to, we can see your screen, Michael. You might want to stop sharing.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to put up one. I apologize. I'll just throw up this one that was
okay. Hi, Tom.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Let me. All right, this screen was being shared, so.
Patrick?
Yeah.
This is the actual trust. Let me.
It's Jay. The point I wanted to make is, in addition to Littleton, Michael, and group, there's also a lot of good information out on Lenox, Great Barrington, and Williamstown, all of whom have housing trusts.
And you've done some of that research already, right?
What's that?
And you've done some of the research already on that.
Yes, I actually have the trust document from Lenox.
Good. So it's not really a long document. I think this one's what, 2 or 3 pages, Michael?
It's 7 pages.
Okay, well, all right. Maybe it was 8.5 by 14.
Right. But they did have a little PowerPoint, which, let me stop this one and add this one from Littleton that I had it up a moment ago, which was the one that they sort of a little just PowerPoint of what they were doing.
Well, look, I don't think we need to go through all these presentations in real time, but I do think sometime maybe around 2 weeks from tonight, the 18th or the 25th, we should reconvene after we've had a chance to kind of go through the various attachments. There's one I'd like to also share with folks, which was the senior housing report from our MVP consultants that the town commissioned about 6 months ago. I think that's also sort of relevant if we decide, we want to, one of the questions we're gonna have to answer is whether we just want to focus on sort of like first-time home buyers, or if we want to like look at some senior housing options too. And so we've got a report that the consultants put together when we're getting certified for the climate change project. We did a senior housing resilience program. So, any thoughts on that? What do you guys think about just getting back together in a few weeks after all this, 30 or 40 pages, we got a chance to digest them?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just go around. My name's Patrick. I'm one of the selectmen, and I work with Jay, help Jay, get the item on the housing trust onto the warrant. And with Jay's excellent work, the town appropriated $100,000 to get us started. Probably only a little bit of that will go to lawyers, and most of it will go into seeding our trust. But we'll see how good a job we do. Jay, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Jay Bykowski. I am not only involved with the town on the Housing Trust Committee, I'm also on the Pilot Committee, that's the payment in lieu of taxes, and I am the chair of the town's Finance Committee. I find it very rewarding and stimulating. We've done a lot of great things, and I think in working on this housing trust, I think it's something we can really bring to a segment of the people that have not been able to really break into the real estate in Stockbridge.
Good. Mark?
My name is Mark Mills. I've had a house in Stockbridge for 18 years, 7 years as a full-time resident. I was an unsuccessful candidate for the planning board in the spring, but during that time, as I kind of studied what the planning board was doing and thought about these issues, housing kind of rose to the forefront for me. And my concerns about whether our zoning as currently situated will make it unlikely that we could get some affordable or workforce housing into the town. So I was very interested when Patrick suggested participating in this program, because it sounds like it might be a way to try to achieve that. I'm an alternate member of the Zoning Board of Appeals as well. So I'm looking forward to working with all you guys and learning a lot about housing and whether we can break through and create some housing for people that live in the Berkshires and make a living here, as well as perhaps seniors who live in town and want to downsize, but don't really have any options at the moment. So I think there's some constituents to look toward in this housing area.
Hey, Tom.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tom Sharp, and my family and I live here in Stockbridge. I haven't had the pleasure of being a part of any town boards or committees or departments yet. This is the first time I'm involved in any public activity, I guess. My wife and I own a design studio, and we have kids 9, 11, and 13, and we moved to the Berkshires in 2009. And so we were fortunate to purchase a home in Stockbridge over a decade ago. And, it was, the environment's changed now, as we're all aware. And Patrick approached me with the opportunity to be a part of this. And through our business and through having young kids in the area, we see the regular challenges for young people to live and work here and own a home here. And so, anyway, it was of interest to me, and I'm happy to be a part of this.
And Andrea runs the Stockbridge Housing Authority, which is mostly focused on Heaton Court, correct?
Yes, it is Heaton Court. I also have a small Section 8 program that issues vouchers in the South County area. So I am very interested in what the town is trying to do here. And I was wondering if I could receive a copy of any of those documents that everybody read, just so I could read them over.
Sure.
Yep, we'll make sure to get those to you.
All right.
And Michael, I don't know, most people I think probably know you, except perhaps Tom, but Mike's our town administrator. So he's sort of not sort of, he is the top administrative officer and chief procurement officer of the town. And, just to comment on really kind of reinforce what Mark said, I really see three sources of where we can put this together, which is really exciting, actually. Let's face it, in terms of building housing, 100 grand isn't going to go very far. All right. But, we've got three other sources that we can look at, which is sort of looking at state and federal money potentially, which is looking at the private donor class. I've already been approached by one very serious donor who had a parcel that he paid over $1 million for, who was interested in using that for Habitat for Humanity housing. And that was really the other part of it. So when we start to look at sort of, shared labor housing, building housing like Habitat, private donors, and, there's a lot of wealth in the area and even in this town, sort of state and federal partners, and then what our own taxpayers might be willing to do. I think there's really an opportunity for us to make a lot of progress in relatively short order. So, I kind of am interested in sort of thinking really creatively about how we put this together and, how we sort of make it happen. So we're not doing like one house every 10 years. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I think we'll give it a try. So, all right. So I think our last task then is to elect a chair. Anybody have an interest? I know, Jay, we talked maybe anyone want to make a motion, or I don't want to nominate.
I would move for Jay. I would move for Jay. I would move for Jay
Yeah.
to be our chair if he's willing to take on the additional responsibilities.
Thank you very much, Tom. I would be. Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Well, I'll make a motion that we nominate, that we elect Jay as the chairman of the Stockbridge Housing Trust Fund Committee. We have a second.
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 All right. All those in favor? All right.
Aye.
Congratulations, Jay. So,
Thank you.
we'll expect the agenda for the next meeting to be forthwith. Stockbridge chairman's write the agenda. So, that's the way it works. All right. Anything else?
Who gave the second, Patrick? Was that you, Tom? Mark?
I think I seconded it, but maybe Mark nominated you and I seconded it, I think.
You did. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
But you can give that one to Tom. I don't really care.
No, I'm just making notes. Thank you.
All right.
I have a question I just want to toss out. How much the issue of zoning may be a challenge in trying to develop new housing, or could the housing be in places where the zoning would allow it? Or do we have to get some special permission or change to be able to put in this kind of housing in the town?
Look, I think that's an excellent question. As it currently is written, we do have a subdivision law, which allows you to basically take a large piece of land and either we can subdivide it, or there's an option to build cluster housing, which sort of has the same underlying density. I think it raises a legitimate question whether or not 2 and 4 acre zoning is too large a parcel size especially for, if you don't tell a developer with a 20 acre piece of land that they can only build 4 units, they're going to build $1 million condos or $1 million houses, or, they're going to build luxury, because you can't blame them for wanting to make money with what they have. So my personal opinion is that if you want to build small stuff, you're going to have more units than if it's all the same, we're going to get a whole bunch more luxury housing or hotels in the region, not just Stockbridge, but just in this area. I also feel like it is the planning board's purview to really drive the boat when it comes to zoning changes. And they're, they've got this NHRBZ thing on the table. I'm hoping personally, my personal feeling, and I'm not speaking, for any board, is that we figure out ways to incentivize small unit construction. Because if we don't do that, then the ability to create downsized housing, 2 families, 3 families, workforce housing is largely going to rest on making it economically appealing to the folks who build that kind of housing. And that's really, I'm not sure we should start with that in our wheelhouse, because we have a lot of work doing just to get this thing up and running. So,
Patrick, can I interject a point, if I might, relative
Sure.
to Mark Mills's question? Mark, one of the thoughts, the 3 towns, Lenox, Williamstown, and Great Barrington, all have basically started out with a mortgage deposit, if you will, for first-time home buyers that's predicated on an average real estate, an average housing price and income. So that could avoid initially the zoning issue. This would incentivize some young people to move into the town. And then you could ultimately move into the question of zoning and structures and so forth. But these other 3 towns do have that capability.
Right.
So it's something to be discussed, is where I'm coming from.
And there's a lot of that, to Jay's point, there's a lot of people who can afford the payment, but haven't saved the money for the down payment yet.
Correct.
And so, that certainly helps those folks. And I think we should all remember that the Mass Pike runs from West Stockbridge to Lee. There's a natural corridor of lesser priced housing that goes through town, and a whole lot of houses and parcels over the next 5 to 10 years, 20 years along that corridor, which are relatively affordably priced. Not everything in this town is going to be attractive to, a affluent second homeowner. And so we have some opportunities to really kind of think this through and be, smart about it. So, let's do that.
There are certain exemptions as well, isn't there? I can't think of what the section is. If it's 150B,
40B.
it's 40B.
Yeah. Sure. And we're in an enviable position because of your good work, Andrea. We exceed the 10% threshold. So I believe that when it comes to 40B developments, we kind of control what happens here a little more than towns that have never reached that threshold before. There's only, I think, a few. Michael, isn't Williamstown one, and Stockbridge? I don't think there's only a few in the Berkshires actually who make the state mandated 10% affordable housing. That kind of takes them out of the, out of 40B jail, so to speak. So anyway, we'll figure out all these issues. I think we should maybe, get back together. And what do you think, Jay? 2-3 weeks? Yeah. And then, gives us a chance to read all the stuff that Michael just sent around, as well as this one document I'll send, and see what happens next.
So one thing that I will caution, we'll set up an email so we can send everybody information, ask about availability to meetings. But the one thing we do have to be careful of is that we don't engage in deliberation, discussion, or opinions on the stuff that's being sent around. We have to conduct that here at the meetings. So it's just information sharing. And then for scheduling purposes for the meetings. So we have had a few boards that have wandered off into deliberating online, and that is something that is really frowned upon. It is actually a violation of the law. So we just need to be aware of that. I will send that around to everybody with the emails, just reminding everybody of what we can use electronic for. And
if you haven't done it yet, you're going to need to take your, conflict of interest training. But, we can talk to each other one-on-one. That's because it's a 5-person board. We just can't serially communicate or talk to 2 of us about a topic at once, or 3 of us rather.
Mark Mills had a comment.
Well, that was my question, Jay. I thought because we were a 5-member board that maybe 2 of us, if I run into Patrick on the street and I have a question or want to comment on something, we wouldn't be in violation of the open meeting law as long as you didn't walk by and join us, Jay.
Right, exactly.
Well, the other one is Patrick did hit on was serial communication, which has become now more of an issue with some. And that means Patrick can't go to you, Mark, and ask a question, then go to Andrea, ask the same question, then go to Tom and ask the same
Right.
question. Because that's just trying, if you're intentionally trying to circumnavigate the law.
I
But
would
yeah, if
never.
the two
ever
of you
do that.
run in and you're just having a general discussion, that is something you can do, but deliberations and the rest belong at the meetings. And the big one is obviously email communication.
Right.
That we just use it for dissemination of information.
Right, it's open meetings. I think the spirit of it is the public has a right to participate in our meetings if they so choose. They have the right to watch these Zoom meetings at CTSB after the fact. They have the right to, join us in real time. So we just want to be respectful of that. And that's kind of the bottom line, Though, just to correct you, Michael, I can talk to Andrea because she's not technically on our committee.
Ah.
Anything else? No,
I think-
so
I think-
motion.
I think what I will do is get my information, Patrick, to Michael and let him circulate it along with the Littleton information too. More information is good.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Sure.
Yep.
You want a motion to adjourn?
I'd love that.
I move to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
maybe one of the fastest
Favor?
we've ever had.
All right. See you later.
Thank you.
I think that's
Thank
it.
you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye all. Thank you.
Thank you.